Let's remember that, within the lore of Dandy's world, there was once a television program that every Toon was aware of. However, it was eventually cancelled, and along with it, the educational center and museum, known as Gardenview, also shut its doors. And because of that, the Toons were left behind, forgotten. So, the user Vaporwave created the alternate universe we'll be exploring in this tape. Dandy's world, shut down. Here we'll discover the current state of the Toons, abandoned within the walls of Gardenview, forced to survive on their own. So let's begin. Within this universe, Toons can go through different stages of decay, leading to symptoms such as panic, wandering, and incoherent behavior. This condition can become dangerous to nearby Toons. However, there is a type of medicine that allows infected Toons to remain mentally stable and functional up to stage 6, preventing some of the effects of decomposition. But its effectiveness is limited to the earlier phases, as it only works before reaching stage 4. The infection progresses through the following 7 stages. Stage 1. No effect. The individual is completely fine. Nothing more, nothing less. The effects of rotting, most of the time, only occur in food Toons. Non-food Toons may or may not show similar symptoms. Stage 2. Minor effects. The individual is still in good condition. The only concerns are reduced sleep and slight discoloration. Large patches of discoloration are more likely to develop mold first, or worse, fall off. At this stage, they will experience fatigue and visible discoloration. Stage 3. Isolation. The individual begins to show early signs of deterioration, especially when not properly cared for. They will wander aimlessly, tremble, and hide in isolated areas. They must be treated immediately before reaching stage 4. Otherwise, recovery will no longer be possible. At this stage, they show sudden behavioral changes, restlessness, and panic. Stage 4. Deterioration. If the individual wasn't treated before stage 4, then good luck trying to help them. At this point, the mold has already reached the brain, and the areas with severe damage have likely fallen off. Even if you manage to restrain them, they will completely refuse treatment, spit out medicine, flail around, and screech as a defense mechanism. At this stage, they exhibit erratic behavior, slurred speech, and in severe cases, melting limbs and blindness. Stage 5. Mindlessness. If the individual hasn't been cured by now, it's already too late. They are far beyond recovery. Medicine will only cause them pain. Their mind is completely gone, drastically altering the way they walk, talk, and behave, almost like a zombie. At this stage, they show limited speech, reduced mobility, lifeless eyes, and constant trembling. Stage 6. Walking corpse. At this point, the kindest option is to end their suffering. It hurts for them to walk. It hurts for them to speak. The only thing keeping them alive is the ichor. They are no longer safe to be around, as they may bite anyone or anything that provokes them. At this stage, they produce constant groans, laughter, or growls, depending on their nature, along with permanent tremors, and they can affect others if provoked. Stage 7. At this point, it's too late. The only thing you can do is run. They become aggressive, dangerous, and will actively try to infect other Toons. Now that we understand the danger these abandoned Toons face, let's take a look at each of them. Dandy. Since the shutdown of Gardenview, Dandy has slowly withered over the years. He tried to maintain his appearance using alternative methods like spray paint, but once his petals began to decay, it became harder to keep up the act. His behavior had changed slightly, losing some of his confidence. But aside from that, he's still holding on.
Channel after channel, nothing worth watching until you find something different. The best Dandy's World ideas are out there, but they're not always easy to find. That's why we bring them straight to you. Subscribe and don't miss a single one.
Sprout. His mental state has worsened as his body continues to rot, almost as if he's become a zombie. He can barely walk or form a coherent sentence. His vocabulary has been reduced to just heal, friends. It seems the decay has turned his brain into something barely functional. Unfortunately, he is the most affected out of all the food Toons. V. When her show was cancelled along with Garden View, she kept herself busy by creating her own TV show scenarios with Shelley. The cable connected to her microphone and antenna snapped during a fight with Shrimpo, and like any old television, her screen began to burn out. She is the most sane of all Toons, and the second least affected. Aside from some missing wires and scratched paint, she's mostly intact.
Shelley.
Although she was initially saddened by the shutdown, she stayed busy playing with V, sewing for fun, and taking Pebbles out for walks. Unfortunately, when the abandoned building began to collapse, a pillar fell on her head, breaking part of her face and arm. Even so, she remained strong, thanks to V and Ginger. Despite being blind due to the crack in her eye, she remains optimistic about the future, and is still completely obsessed with dinosaurs.
Pebble.
Pebbles spent his time with Dandy and the others during the shutdown, acting as a support dog, lifting everyone's spirits just by being there. He was also caught in the pillar incident, but unlike Shelley, he barely managed to escape. He is the least affected of all the main Toons.
Astro.
He stayed by our side for a while, until a loud crash was heard. The next moment, Astro was on the ground. His moon face cracked, and his blanket tattered. No one really knows what happened. Some say it was the pillar incident. Others believe a mischievous Toon attacked him. Whenever he's asked about it, he simply can't remember. He has grown more distant from the others, and always speaks in a strange, unsettling tone. He's distant, but not cold. He would talk to the others if given a chance, but it always feels like he's hiding something deeper.
Heal? No heal.
Sprout often dreams about the past, when he was happy and healthy, and every time, he wakes up feeling worse.
That dream happened again, didn't it? Glisten.
For a while, Glisten was already adapting to Garden View being abandoned, focusing more on his appearance. But over time, he began tripping over random objects so often that he eventually shattered his face. And as resources like makeup became scarce, he could no longer hide the cracks. Now he hides his face out of shame. He stays close to those he trusts, trying to cope with everything.
Scraps.
She was doing perfectly fine, until she lost half of her face in an accident. With no extra paper left in Garden View, they had to repair her using newspaper and tape. Despite everything, from Shrimpo stomping on her tail to losing a leg, she's lucky to still be alive. And surprisingly, she's mentally more stable than Sprout. She can still speak clearly and move around fairly well. She's falling apart, but she's still holding on. She usually spends time with Goob. Glisten often gives her makeovers whenever she starts to break down.
I mean, I'm a stylist. It's the least I can do. Wow, I feel pretty. Goob.
Goob, known for giving hugs, was always cheerful. Even when he suffered tears and damage, he kept smiling. Even now, with one of his arms under so much strain, it could fall off at any moment, he still wants to hug others. But ever since Scraps began to fall apart, it becomes harder for him to smile. He's worried about her, and with no glue or paper left, there's nothing he can do to fix her. All he can do is hope. Hope that his sister will make it through. He stays by her side, watching over her as she slowly loses herself.
Gigi.
While everyone else was running out of resources, Gigi somehow kept restocking everything at an incredible pace. She helps Ginger take care of the other Toons, reluctantly donating medicine and supplies. She's also been spending time with Connie, gathering information about certain Toons. For now, she's incredibly useful. But eventually, even she might run out. Somehow her head is never empty. It's like she has an unlimited supply. She hasn't changed at all. Gigi can generate almost anything, from food to medkits. But most of the time it's just gumballs, newspapers, or random items. Astro sometimes shares strange thoughts with her.
Have you ever been so bored that you entered someone's dream and wrote it on their desk?
This alternate universe may be dark and unsettling, but what truly makes it interesting is seeing how each Toon reacts and adapts to these conditions. There's still so much more to uncover about Dandy's world shutdown. So if you want to keep exploring this world, don't forget...